Okay, I think some of you pixel peeping nerds who sit in the basement of their parental home and tweak 20 DaVinci nodes just to edit a video for a third grade dentist in a fucking mall need to be grounded, I think. So expect a little rant today. I'm fine if you don't share the same opinion. You can complain in the comments, throw some stuff at me. That's fine. If that makes you happier, go for it. But what makes me happy is sometimes to rant and say out loud what I think. So in the last few weeks, we had a lot of email contact with some of our customers who purchased Emulate, people who are deep into filmmaking, people that are just starting out. And what I noticed is that there's a small portion out there of people who are such big nerds that they need a reality check, in my opinion. And I'm talking about those people who are really deep into the trenches when it comes to technical correctness of film and film emulation or filmmaking in general. What I mean by that is people who never shot an actual short film in their life, who never published anything outside of their home studio, people who claim to be professionals, and maybe they are, but only in the theory. Like, they never put out anything. They never created a story. They never shot a documentary. And I'm not talking about a Netflix documentary. I'm talking about shooting something in the real life. And then those same people care about things that no one cares about. And I want to share a message with you. Of course, I'm not mentioning any names. So let me share this with you. And then I will share my opinion and why I think that you got way bigger problems than the problems you are mentioning in your messages or the problems you think exist. Okay? Hi, I've been looking into how film actually works for quite some time now. And it's really difficult to find a plugin where the film grain doesn't just look like an overlay. For example, Dehancer advertises that its grain represents the actual image itself, spatially and not as an overlay, like granules. But somehow in motion it still looks like an overlay. Same thing with Color.io, which takes a similar approach. In stills it looks pretty good. Color.io even a bit better than Dehancer, but in motion it again feels more like an overlay. It still always looks digital. Dehancer also has a film resolution setting, but that's basically just Gaussian blur and doesn't really have much to do with film. And also when film is well scanned, even in Super 16, it can look incredibly detailed and sharp, yet still soft and not digital, which is hard to describe. That's why I hope your film emulation does a better job at this. Best wishes. Okay, so where do I start? So I replied to him and told him that first of all, our audience is solo filmmakers, maybe small production teams, YouTubers, content creators, whatever. Anyone who is working on big productions, feature films, blockbusters for Netflix, whatever, they would never use our plugin Emulate anyway. I mean, they could, but they don't. There are options for this customer segment. Maybe they're using Genesis, filmbox, whatever. But what I want to emphasize on here is that it doesn't matter if you use a $6,000 film emulation or color grading process and DCTL in DaVinci and work with the best in the industry, or you just slap a lot onto your footage and put a fucking film grain overlay on top of it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Except you nerds. That's the problem here. Now let me tell you something else. No matter how good your film grain is, no matter how realistic it is, as soon as you upload it to YouTube, it gets destroyed by the compression anyway, okay? And I highly doubt that most of you are producing feature films or documentaries for Netflix, okay? I think to myself, like, isn't there anything more exciting in your life to think about, to do? Like, maybe go out and enjoy nature, or have a good time with your family, or I don't know, like, why do you care about stuff that only you and your fucking bubble care about? The audience would notice it, no matter how good your grain is, no matter how perfectly correct your film resolution slider works. Your audience doesn't care. They don't see the difference. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. The results are important, and there are differences in quality. That's why we just shipped our first update and made the grain module even better on Emulate, for example, because the first one looked terrible. It basically looked really fake. That's why we pushed an update. And now it looks really, really good, I think. I actually use it on this shot, but I'm pretty sure you don't see it as I saw it when I exported it to my computer because of YouTube compression. And it doesn't matter if you upload to YouTube or to Instagram or fucking TikTok. There is compression, because otherwise you couldn't upload a billion videos a day and store it forever. Yeah. So my question to you is, why do you care so much? Why do you care so much about something that 99% of your audience won't notice? I don't get it. So don't get me wrong, please. It's always good to have meaningful discussions about several topics and niches. And you have those nerds in every bubble out there, no matter if it's about filmmaking, photography, all these audio nerds. Believe me, it's even worse over there. I've been producing music for 10 plus years now. It's the same. It's the same, no matter if it's music, film, photo, or fitness, or finance. There will always be people that talk about stuff that's simply not important. And that's okay. You can do so. You have your echo chambers, whether you go to Reddit or in your private Discord, or on YouTube. But for the rest out there, I maybe want to give some kind of advice. Maybe focus a bit more on the outcome, the things you can change in the real world. It can be through your films. It can be through your content or through your music, whatever. But focus more on the actual outcome. Is it really worth it to complain about the film grain in your image for 1 week and try to tweak it, and then you upload it to YouTube and it gets destroyed by the compression? Or is this just a way for you to avoid the things you should have done in this time? I mean, you can have so much more impact on the world, or on your community, on your family, on other people, on yourself, if you just go out and maybe shoot something and maybe create something that isn't about technical nonsense. That's just my thoughts. I could go on and show you 15 more examples of messages we got where people focused on the wrong thing or read too much about a technical correct workflow instead of trusting their own eye, trusting what maybe your girlfriend says if you show them that piece of video you just made. Or maybe some of them just don't have an eye for aesthetics and how something should look if they want to transport a specific kind of emotion in their videos. Anyway, we just pushed the first update for Emulate, which is 1.1, and we made some changes. And also we overhauled the grain module, and I think it looks pretty good. I hope that you really learn to trust your own instincts, trust your own eyes, and create something that has more substance than the stuff you complaining about all day. Sitting on Reddit and putting your anger on the world or your unprocessed trauma into the world by saying that the skin tones look off.